The town of Dry Creek was no place for the weak. The wind was cruel, the sun burned like judgment, and folks didn't ask questions unless they had a rifle behind the door. It was nearly dusk when the storm broke, turning the date roads into veins of sucking mud. Thunder cracked like the whip of an angry god, and rain fell in sheets. Out of that downpour came a woman, thin, ragged, crawling on hands and knees with a child clutched to her chest. Her skirts were torn and soaked, her boots long since swallowed by the road. The child, no more than 4, whimpered quietly beneath a threadbare coat. At the edge of town, under the awning of the livery stable, sat a man in a low-brimmed hat, cigarette smoke curling up like a ghost. His coat was patched, his boots scuffed, but his eyes were sharp, eyes that had seen too much war, too much betrayal, too much of everything. Bo McAllister didn't stand unless it was worth the effort. But when he saw her, that woman crawling through hell itself with a child like a shield, something in him moved. He dropped the smoke and stepped into the rain. Chapter 2, The Stranger and the Scar. Bo didn't ask questions. He just knelt beside her in the muck and said, "You ain't gonna make it like this." Her hands trembled as she held the boy tighter. "Please. It's burning up. I just need somewhere warm." Bo didn't answer. He scooped the child into his arms, a whisper of fever against his chest, and helped the woman to her feet. She tried to resist, but her legs gave out. He caught her. The innkeeper at the Rusty Nail tried to refuse him. "Don't want no trouble. Both sheriffs already breathing down my neck." But one glare from Bo silenced the man. He laid the child in a room upstairs and helped the woman strip off her wet clothes, handing her a wool blanket. She wrapped it around her bruised frame. A long scar ran from her collarbone down to her ribs. Bo didn't ask how she got it. She looked at him like she expected to be struck. "I ain't that kind of man," he muttered, handing her a tin cup of water. "Name's Bo." She hesitated. "Clara, that's Thomas." "You running from someone?" Tears welled in her eyes but didn't fall. "Yes." Bo nodded. "Then we'll keep you hid, least till the boy's fever breaks." Chapter 3, Fire and Ghosts. The storm passed, but the town whispered like vultures. Word got around fast in Dry Creek about the woman and the child staying with Bo McAllister. Some called her a whore, others guessed outlaw, but nobody dared say it to Bo's face. Thomas burned through 2 nights of fever. Clara barely slept. She bathed his face, held his hand, whispered stories of trains and stars and better places. Bo sat by the window, cleaning his revolver in silence. On the 3rd morning, the boy opened his eyes. "Mama." Clara wept then. She kissed his forehead, murmuring thanks to a god she had cursed only days before. Bo brought them bread and stew from the general store. He even smiled once when Thomas clung to his leg like a puppy. "You were a soldier, weren't you?" Clara asked him one night, watching his hands as he stitched a tear in his shirt. "Used to be," Bo said quietly. "Now I'm just tired." She looked down. "I married a soldier once. He came home, different. Then he started drinking. Then he started hitting. Bo didn't speak, but his jaw clenched. "I ran after the last time," she whispered. "He said if he ever saw us again, he'd kill us both." Chapter 4, The Devil Rides In. It was 3 days later when trouble rolled into town. A man in a black coat, riding a dapple-gray stallion with a sawed-off shotgun strapped to his saddle. He was clean-shaven, cold-eyed, and mean as a rattlesnake. His name was Everett Kane. Clara went white when she saw him from the inn's window. "That's him," she said, voice like gravel. "Thomas's father." Bo didn't flinch. "You sure?" "Positive. He found us." Bo holstered his coat and tipped his hat low. "Then is in the wrong town." Kane swaggered into the saloon like he owned it. Folks scattered like dry leaves. He asked around, smiling like a man who enjoyed pain. By sundown, He was at the inn door. Bo opened it. Kane looked him up and down. "You got something belongs to me, Cowboy." Bo stepped out onto the porch, blocking the view inside. "Don't see your name on anything here." Kane sneered. "That woman and boy, I aim to take 'em back." Bo cocked his head. "That ain't how this works." Kane's hand twitched near his gun. "You willing to die for 'em?" Bo's voice was low and steady. "Been half dead for years. Might as well finish the job for something that matters." Chapter 5, Gunsmoke and Redemption. The sheriff came in the morning, trying to keep peace. "Bo, I know you mean well, but this fella's got legal claim. He's the boy's father." Bo's voice was cold. "He's a monster. You know it." The sheriff sighed. "I also know the law don't always care." Clara came down the stairs, pale but resolute. She held Thomas in her arms. "I'll go," she said softly, "if it means he won't hurt you." Bo looked at her like she'd stabbed him. "No, you won't." "I won't have your blood on my hands, Bo. You're not responsible for my past," he said, "but maybe you're the reason I've got a future." That night, Bo sat on the porch, gun across his lap. Clara sat beside him. Thomas curled between them, asleep. "You think you can stop him?" she asked. Bo nodded. "I know how he fights. I've seen his kind. But I also know how to end it." Kane came at dawn. The duel was short and brutal. Bo took a shot to the shoulder, but his aim was true. Kane dropped, a look of surprise etched on his face like he'd finally met something bigger than his own cruelty. Bo staggered, bleeding. Clara screamed and ran to him. Chapter 6. The dust settles. Bo survived. Clara nursed him like she had Thomas, and this time the boy helped. Every night, Thomas brought water, whispered cowboy stories, and asked Bo to stay forever. Weeks passed. The town changed. Folks started nodding at Clara on the street. They brought cornbread and firewood. The innkeeper even fixed the stairs for free. Bo bought a small ranch on the edge of town. Clara planted sunflowers. Thomas got a dog and named it Dusty. One evening, Bo watched the two of them chase fireflies in the field, and something inside him cracked open, like a heart remembering how to beat. Clara returned, smiling with that look in her eyes, the one that said she was no longer running. "You ever think about marriage?" she asked shyly. Bo chuckled. "You asking?" "I'm thinking about it." He tipped his hat back and pulled her close. "Then I'm saying yes." Epilogue. Home is where the healing grows. The land stayed hard, and the sun still scorched the earth, but laughter grew in that little homestead. They faced droughts, sickness, and loss, but never alone. And Bo, the worn-out cowboy who'd given up on redemption, found it not in vengeance or justice, but in the hand of a broken woman who refused to quit, and the innocent heart of a child who called him Pa without hesitation. Sometimes, love doesn't ride in with trumpets. Sometimes it crawls through the mud and begs for mercy. And sometimes, just sometimes, a tired man reaches out, and together they build something worth dying for. Or better yet, something worth living for.